Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. I'm grateful to be here, and I trust that you are feeling as well as you can be in this moment, despite whatever circumstances might be prevailing for you at this time. Remember that any difficulty shall pass. This too shall pass, you may remind yourself. And whatever you're feeling, it is always a valid expression of what you're experiencing, both inside and out. I hope to be your humble host today, and if I'm not, you can hold me accountable to that. So welcome. Hello, dear Sadik. Thank you for blessing our Sangha with a heart me today. Harihi Om. That's it. You're very early. As our first guests continue to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as being an opening environment. Welcome to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. May we come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experience, and share positive sentiments. You're very welcome, dear Sadik. Thank you for your tiny, dear Jody. Yippee! Welcome. Hello, dear Marcia. Welcome, dear Ryan. Allow me to also begin with an invocation of a Shanti mantra from the Itinerary and Katha Upanishad, which goes like this in Sanskrit. Ham sahana vavatu sahanao bhunaktu sahaviryang karvavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om. May the Divine protect us both together. May the Divine nourish us both together. May we work conjointly with great ease. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Om. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Hello, dear G. You can't hear the music? Maybe it's very quiet. For some reason it got disconnected. Let me try to fix that. Thank you for noticing. The music, I find, is so beautiful today. I hope you get to hear it. Let's see if that works. Nope. Welcome, Cece. Hello, dear staff. Good evening, Susie. Hello, Kim. Thank you, dear Crystal, for your rose too. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Now, is that working? No. I wonder why. For some reason it won't register. I have an idea. How does that work? No? Well, I'm running out of ideas here. Thank you, dear Steph, for your friendship, Nicholas. Ganganapataye Namaha. And dear Truth Seeker, thank you for your heart, me. Bhram Bhairavaya Namo Namaha. Hello, dear Doreen. Welcome. Thank you, dear Mermaid Yo. Yeah. I'm actually streaming on my computer, dear Steph, but yes, if I was on my phone, it's good to make sure that another device isn't connected. What does music do, asks Lyrics. Well, it's a username like Lyrics. You should know what music does. It speaks to your heart, doesn't it? Hello, dear Don Suela. I'm from Vancouver Island, dear A. Just gonna try a couple more things with the audio. So you don't have to just listen to my voice. I think that works. I think we've got the music now. Yep. My meters are showing that it's working. There we go. That'll make for a nicer ambiance for the rest of our live stream. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you, dear Dov Darker, for your heart me. Radhe Radhe. I love the many different kinds of yoga, dear AAA. Yoga as a Sanskrit word means union, and you can achieve union across many different aspects of your life. Most people are familiar of yoga of the body, but there are so many more different kinds of yogas. The yoga of the mind, the yoga of the heart, the yoga of knowledge, the yoga of action, the yoga of loving devotion, the yoga of morality, the yoga of the breath. These are all the different disciplines of unification that one can bring into their life in order to achieve union. Hello, dear Michelle. Hello, dear Kali. Can I explain the meaning of Om Mani Padme Hum? Certainly. It's a sandwich. There's one bija, a sacred seed at the beginning, and another bija, a sacred seed at the end. In between are two Sanskrit words, mani, which means jewel. It's also found that word for the solar plexus chakra, the Manipura, which means city, the pura of jewels, mani. Padme is the the locative form of Padma, meaning lotus. So Padme means in the lotus. So Mani Padme means the jewel in the lotus. Om is a sacred bija known as the Pranava. The origin of this whole universe is said to be in it. Om is similarly sacred. It is a syllable of protection, of medicine, of healing, of wisdom. So altogether you have, in between the origin of all things and the protective power of wisdom, the jewel at the center of the lotus. Om Mani Padme Hum. What is the lotus? A lotus is that which blossoms after first being born in mud, rising through turbulent and murky waters, but finally remaining untouched in the daylight, not even a drop of water or dirt on it. That is the story of the lotus. You are that lotus. And the jewel? Well, the jewel is what you discover to be within you the whole time. The beautiful treasure guarded by the secret of your being. You meditate on this mantra and it shall reveal itself. Om Mani Padme Hum. Dhanyavada, dear Vince of York, for your heartmeat. And thank you. Jaya Sitaram. And thank you, dear Gabi, for the heartmeat that you sent. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What are we listening to? Asks Carl Sagan. Oh, you're still alive? Wow, it's incredible. We're listening to the beauty of Indian classical music, flute, sitar, and tabla for inner peace, from the Classical Tune YouTube channel. Hello, dear Freya. You keep falling asleep on my live streams and you keep sending them to people in your sleep. Well, keep doing that. You're boosting my metrics. Greetings, dear Principessa from Switzerland. We've got a beautiful mantra from Michelle. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in all worlds be happy. Hello, dear Liam. Dear you're afraid of seeing things while meditating. Should you still meditate? The only thing you have to be afraid of is your own self. And your true self is not that scary. It's just what's in the way might be difficult. When you meditate, you are interfacing with your very own conscious awareness. That's all there is. And so, truly, you have nothing to fear, therefore, because it's all a part of you. Fear implies that there's some uncertainty in something separate from you that you don't have control over. The beauty of meditating is that it's all you. You get nothing to be afraid of because there's no part of the meditation that's separate from you. You are that. You are that whole process. You are the conscious experience itself. Any forms that arise during that are just manifestations of your own consciousness. Thank you, dear dream traveler, for your heartmeat. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. Of course, you gotta talk to your cat in high notes, dear Kaisa.
Oh, hello. What a beautiful creature you are. Yeah, so pretty.
Thank you, dear Frog Sage, for the rose you send. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Good evening, dear Elizabeth. Thank you, dear Sadik. I have not changed any live stream settings. I have been going outside and waking up earlier and working on my body and mind as instruments, and I'm very blessed to have a nice side effect of that, which is when you bring out your inner beauty, I think your outer beauty begins to reflect that also. Thank you, Frog Sage. And thank you, dear Jody, for another
tiny. Yippee.
So, on the itinerary today for our live stream, We'll start with Shravana, as always, which is the portion dedicated to listening, and I will listen with you as we continue through the Radiant Sutras. This is a modern interpretation and commentary of the ancient Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, a scripture which is a dialogue between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and they enumerate together 112 gateways to the yoga, the union of wonder and delight. That'll be it for Shravana today. Then we'll transition to Manana, the section dedicated to Q&A, and we can also have a question of the day. Today's will be related to gateways to liberation in general. Then we shall end with Nididhyasana, but not before we have an intermission of some poetry reading by the Sufi mystic Rumi. And for our ending meditation in Nididhyasana, we'll be doing a guided meditation on the Passion of the Inner Christ for Good Friday. So I hope that sounds appropriate. If you are interested in any of that, I hope to continue to see you here. Otherwise, feel free to come and go as you please. Much love, dear AAA. Dear Frog Sage, you share your name is Easton? If I can pronounce that better, you can let me know. Can I send you energy of friendship healing? Having a rough patch with some buddies? I would love to, dear Easton. Thank you for the opportunity. May all true companionship remain whole and bonded in spite of any difficulties. May anything that tries to separate two friends actually bring them closer at heart. And may we always remain good friends with ourselves. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear AAA, you ask, what is the best way to unlock the throat chakra? Your throat represents your vocal cords. That's your power of speech, vak. Exercise them. Sing, speak your truth, set boundaries, tell people how you feel, and be honest with yourself in prayer. You can also practice mantras. The throat chakra, of course, is like every chakra, but especially the throat, has to do with Sanskrit sounds. And there are certain Sanskrit sounds said to unlock each chakra. For the throat, the main mantra is That's a voiced guttural aspirate transitioning into a nasalization. And then the sub-mantras for it are the 16 vowels of Sanskrit. Im, im, aham. You can practice either the main mantra itself, or the 16 sub-mantras, or both of them together. Thank you, dear Pegasus, for your rose. Om Dum Durgaya Namaha. Sorry that you missed me last night, dear Urgdrumbo. I was out with my father. I had a lovely day, and I was working on some mathematics concerning mantra creation and visualization. Hello, dear Eva Nora. Dear Rhiannon, you share you visit your first chakra reading tomorrow. You're nervous? No, that sounds very exciting. What is being nervous if not a form of excitement, hidden as fear? Unveil that excitement, and there will be only elation. Dear Ava Nora, you are roller skating as we speak. You've added roller skating to your list of meditation techniques. That's very impressive. Well, I hope this live stream doesn't take you away from being able to roller skate in a safe and effective way. Sab, you ask what I know about the Assyrians. I don't know much other than that they were very ancient and spiritual. Is it from the Assyrians that we get Zoroastrianism? I'm not sure. Thank you, dear Amy. I've been doing really well. Thank you, dear Michelle. The world gets brighter every day. Thank you, dear Zord. Current song is Beauty of Indian Classical Music, dear AAA. Flute, sitar, and tabla for inner peace. That answers your question too, dear Carl Sagan. I'm feeling wonderful today, dear Danny. Dear Laura, you share, if we all could afford mushrooms, that would help. No need. All is accessible within. Mother Nature has her medicines when we might be unable at times to access them. But everything is possible within your own wonderful physiology. A good day, dear Sazrar. Haribol, dear Billy. Dear Orange Heart, you ask, how do I flow so easily? Well, I pay attention to when I'm not flowing so easily. When I find that flow to be difficult, and I ask myself, how am I bottlenecking that? What am I holding on to that's in the middle of the stream that can be an obstacle to the flow? How can I flow around that if it's immovable as a part of me? Or how can I dislocate that part and surrender it back? I think what happened? Alright, I think I fixed everything. Hello everyone. I had to restart my computer. There was an unexpected software error. But I think it's back and working. Hello again. Hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you, dear Danny. Hello, dear Donzuela. Welcome again, dear G. Alright. So, without further ado, let's continue with our Sangha. It is time for another reading of the Radiant Sutras. May we continue where we left off. Today we start with the 13th Yukti, one of the 112 gateways to the Yoga of Wonder and Delight. As always, I'll chant the Sanskrit, and then we'll read the author's interpretive translation into English. And then we'll pull out a single word from the Sanskrit and use that as a seed for the corresponding meditation practice. Any of these practices can serve you for a lifetime. So don't think the fact that we're going to read through them is indicative of these just being ones that pass you by. You can pause on any one of them and have a full meditative experience on them. Anyway, this is the 36th verse overall in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Kararuddha durgastrena bhrubheda Dvāra rodhanat durshte bindau kramaline tanmadhe paramasthitihi. Lift your hands, and with a gesture, turn aside all the forces of the outer world. Attend to the vibrancy within. Let the fingers lightly touch and bless eyes, ears, nostrils, mouth, all the entrances to the head. Invite attention to be within the skin and cherish the quiet shimmer of vital energies. When you notice an inner gateway, enter with love as one coming home. As the surge of light substance rises, follow it up into the space between the eyebrows, where it breaks out as an orgasm of light. The word of the verse is Dvāra. Dvāra, D-V-A-A-R-A. It's a door, a gate, a passage, an entrance, an opening, an aperture, especially of the human body, a way, means, medium. The Maheshwaras, the great lords, hold that there are 6 dvaras, or means of obtaining religious ecstasy. The practice? Doors can be open and they can be closed. Sometimes we long to close it all out, shut the door, and put up a sign saying, "Go away." This yukti gives you permission to do just that. Close the outer doors of perception, dvaras, and open your inner senses. You can do this in any way that is attractive to you, such as wearing an eye mask and earplugs, meditating in a silent and dark room, or floating in a sensory deprivation tank. You could put your fingers over your eyes and in your ears in what's called Shanmukhi Mudra. Most people can automatically shut out the other world instantly and without effort whenever they find something interesting to attend to in the inner world. Alternately, use your hands to lightly touch and bless the openings in the head, the ears, nose, mouth, and eyes. In your imagination, create an energy shield around the head and around your body. Wrap yourself up in protective light. Putting on armor is the 6th definition of yoga in the Monier-Williams Sanskrit-English Dictionary. Armor can be a prayer that gives you the ability to turn away or postpone unwanted energies. When you close the door to the outer world, there is a beautiful feeling of having just the right armor to protect your inner temple. That is the 13th yukti. Let's read the 14th now. Dhamandhakshobha sambhuta sukshmagni tilaka kritim bindung shikhante hridaye layante dhyayato layaha. That's the 37th verse overall. When you close your eyes, attention turns toward the inner glow. The heart sees by its own light, pulsing with subtle flame. In your forehead is a single eye. Here streams of living electricity flow together. The body of substance, Padme, and the body of light fuse into one. Above your head, a star is shining. The soul, luminous in its own realm. Life arises from itself. In a swirling motion of flame, being becomes body. In meditation, adore the subtle fire. In heart, head, and above, dissolve into radiance. The word of the verse, Bindu, B-I-N-D-U. It can mean a detached particle, a drop, a globule, a dot, a spot, a mark made by the teeth of a lover on the lips of their mistress, a colored mark made on the forehead between the eyebrows, a spot or mark of colored paint on the body of an elephant, the sudden development of a secondary incident, which, like a drop of oil in water, expands and furnishes an important element in the plot. The practice? There are sudden and surprising developments in the plot of our everyday lives and in the adventure story of our inner lives. Sometimes the goddess gives us a love bite, leaving behind a little Bindu mark saying, "You are mine." In the outer world or in meditation, you may see something so beautiful that your heart is shaken. Kshobha, shaking. It's a glimpse of heaven, and you are changed. You are marked by love. You catch a sight of perfection, and it stirs an inner flame, lights your fire. The sensation is almost orgasmic. The beauty out there awakens a subtle flame in your heart and mind behind your eyes. Whenever this happens, welcome it and follow the melting into the heart. There is a blessing here. Let the swoon carry you into the arms of divine consciousness. This is an initiation. The world is an open-air ashram, and the Guru is everywhere. The beloved is everywhere. The holy is here. When you look out on the world, be alert for what lights up your eyes. The delight is a kind of disturbance. It shakes you and awakens the fire within. It lights up your eyes, lights up your heart. You melt. This simple moment, which all tender-hearted people experience, is a door to the mystery of heart. If you meditate on this flame, you may find yourself dissolving and entering the cave of the heart. One of the high purposes of meditation, Dhyānartha, is to be prepared to savor and cherish these memories when they occur. That is the 14th Bindu. That is the 14th Yukti, and the word was Bindu. Let's read one more. The 15th Yukti and the 38th verse overall of the Vijnana Bhairava-tantra. Anāhate patra karne bhagna shabde saridurute shabda brahmani nishnatah param brahmadhigacchati. Bathe deeply in that ocean of sound vibrating within you, now as always, resonating softly, permeating the space of the heart. The ear that is tuned by rapt listening learns to hear the song of creation, first like a handbell, then subtler like a flute, subtler still as a stringed instrument, eventually as the buzz of a bee. Entering this current of sound, the listening one forgets the external world, becomes absorbed into internal sound, then absorbed in vastness, like the song of the stars as they shine. The word of the verse is Anāhata. A-N-A-A-H-A-T-A. Anāhata. It means unbeaten, unwounded, or produced otherwise than beating. The practice? Whenever you can, listen to waterfalls, streams, rivers, and oceans, any flowing water. Listen from different distances so you can appreciate both the steady roar and a distant hum. Sometimes go so far away that you can barely hear it. Meditate in all these places so you will become attuned to the rushing and to the whisper. The word Anāhata suggests that you explore and find the sounds that are particularly soothing to your heart. This is a good practice in itself, and it also attunes the body to other types of flowing currents, even internal ones. There are many rivers inside a human body, thousands of miles of blood vessels. That is just the physical level. On the level of the prana body, there is similar intricacy. This yukti invites us to listen to the flow of life within. There is a sound of your own heart center vibrating. You may hear it if you are finely tuned. It is the song of you, the vibration of you having this adventure in existence. It is always there, rushing like a river, a whisper. Once in a while you may hear it while meditating, especially in the early hours of the morning before dawn. No matter what your technique, sometimes the quiet roar will just be there. There is nothing you did that caused it. When this happens, simply listen and be with it. Hata is an Indian term in music meaning struck, beaten, as a drum. In Sanskrit, when you add a short a to a word, it means the opposite. So Anāhata is unstruck, the chord that keeps resonating without beginning or end. Anāhata is also a term used in the chakra system to refer to the heart center, the cardiac plexus, the wheel of life energy vibrating in the region of the physical heart. So right here we have one of those cheerful little jokes you find everywhere in Sanskrit. Hearts beating. That's what they do. And hearts get wounded. But there is a level of your heart that is unbeaten, unwounded. Anytime you want, come take refuge here and be healed in your essential heart that is steadily humming along. Thank you for listening. That was the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th yuktis of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, given in modern interpretation and commentary by Lauren Roche. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Any one of those techniques can last you a lifetime. sure many of you know the Sanskrit name for the heart chakra, Anāhata. But the full name is Anāhata Nada, which means unstruck sound, nada, meaning sound. It is the center, the chakra of the unstruck sound, the sound that resonates without beginning, without end. I look forward to continuing with the 16th yukti next time. That concludes our Shravana section dedicated to listening. I'm always blessed to be able to listen with you for the first time as we read through these. Now we can transition to Manana, the section dedicated to Q&A, and we can explore whatever's in our hearts and minds. And I welcome everyone that joined while we were reading too. And thank you to those who sent a gift. Dear Roxy, thank you for your heart me. Yam Hridaya Kashaya Nama. Dear Helena, thank you for your heart me and rose. And a squirrel. And an ice cream cone. Om Kamalir Mahakalikaye Namaha. Dear Roxy, thank you again. Dear Shelly Belly, thank you for your pair of
tiny bunnies. Yippee!
and your ice cream cone. Jaya Sitaram. Thank you, dear Helena. Happy Easter to you. Dear Macy, you have that book in your yoga teacher training. I love that. It's a great yogic text indeed. Thank you for listening, dear Kimberly. Welcome, dear user 376. Hello, dear Apostolos. Hello, dear Jackie. Thank you. Hello, dear Hilda. I'm feeling well, thank you, dear Macy. How are you? And I share that question with all of you. In this moment, how are you feeling? If you want to share. You don't have to, of course. But do know that there's space for your feelings, regardless of what you're going through here. Thank you, dear Knuckles. Tired but good, shares Macy. Understandable. Carl Sagan, you expressed difficulty finding the music on YouTube. I'll read to you the title again. It's called Beauty of Indian Classical Music. Flute, sitar, and tabla for inner peace. And it's on the Classical Tune YouTube channel. Dear Kimberly, you are at work, but you're meant to be exploring beaches across the world. You are meant to be exactly where you are right now, too. And I'm sure you will have many beaches to explore in the world. But a beach is very symbolic, and it symbolizes something that you have access to even whilst at work. A beach is what separates the land from the ocean, or rather, it's what joins them. The land represents your body. The ocean represents your mind. Your senses are your beach, the threshold of experiencing. No matter where you go, may you rest in the beach of your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your skin. May you savor every moment and see your work not merely as an obligation, but something that you elect to do as it provides service to this world and the people in it, like yourself. You're feeling at peace, dear Hilda. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to have you here, dear Michelle. I hope your little girl gets to sleep soon, dear Kim. Hello, dear Illuminate. You're very welcome, dear Carl Sagan. Dear Macy, you ask, are we always whole and complete? Always. And the reason that's true is because you are wholeness itself. You are not that which can be made whole. You are that which makes whole. You are that which adds to everything in this world. So wholeness is a part of you. It is a quality of your being. If you weren't whole, you wouldn't be you. Of course, dear Hee. I've never been more alive. And at the same time, I've never been closer to death. Every day I get more alive and closer to death. What a beautiful paradox that is. Good evening, dear Tamar. Dear Mitresa, you're working as a children's entertainer in a city 6 hours from yours, instead of spending Easter with family, so you're a little sad. You are part of the family that you get to share with every child. When the Divine Mother flows through you, every child may be one that you look upon as a mother. Therefore, you are with family. You are always with family. What a wonderful time. And what a most selfless way to spend Easter. It's beautiful. But yet your sadness and longing for others you may call family is very valid and understood. Of course, dear Hee. How could I forget such a humorous fellow? Macy, you ask, what happens if we look for someone else to make us whole? Then we misunderstand that we are not made whole by anyone else. And by that assumption, you feel incomplete. In other words, it's not that you are incomplete and therefore the urge arises to be filled by another being. It's the assumption itself that you are filled by another being that makes you feel incomplete. That is to say, swap your perspective from gaining something from a relationship to having a place to give yourself to. People do not give you anything other than the opportunity for you to share yourself. And that is the greatest gift, the opportunity to express joy, because it's all there inside you. Other human beings, they are receptacles of your joy. They may incite that happiness, but not as coming from them, but coming from a place within you that you get to share with them. And that is the beauty of a relationship. Dear Helena, you focus on your inner beauty, your outer beauty takes care of itself. Haven't you noticed? Even if someone isn't considered conventionally attractive, if they are beautiful within, the whole world will see them as beautiful. You meet someone and they are just radiating with an inner light. That is what people notice. You take care of what's on the inside, everything on the outside will take care of itself too. And this is a practical point. You take care of your mind will take care of your body. And if the body is taken care of, then it will take care of the world around you. Dear Rafi, you ask, how do you deal with low vibrational thoughts? Do you accept them or transform them? That's step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is accept them. Step 2 is transform them. And you transform them by reframing them from a higher perspective. Every thought by itself is neither good nor bad. It's just a thought. It's what you do with that thought that truly makes it one that is helpful or harmful. If acting on a thought as it is harmful, then instead of doing that, pause, understand the nature of the thought, where it comes from, what part of us may be wounded, and that thought is a reflection of that or an expression of that. Can we wait for this thought to pass? If so, wait for that thought to pass. Can we release it in some way? Can we go through some creative process to deliver it unto the world in a more beautiful way? Or can we transform it in some way? Can we see that very same idea from another perspective, which is not some degradation of some fault or limitation of any part of this world, including your body or mind, but is an opportunity for growth in some area? Can you see it from the angle of some worthy challenge to work on, to develop? Namaste, dear Stevie G. You're very welcome, dear Mitrisa. Hello, dear George. Hello, dear May. You shared, George, you've had a very traumatic experience recently. You have broken your right arm in 3 places, and with all 3 places needing metal plates and screws. One of the fractures protruded through the skin, and this has really hurt you physically and mentally. It was a motorcycle crash. I'm sorry to hear that, dear George. I'm happy to hear that you've had some treatment, some surgeries to be able to be on your way to heal and live a relatively more normal life again, as you may have had before the accident. These things in life do happen, and I pray that they do not happen to anyone else, but such is the case that these moments are teaching moments. I don't know the context in which you were driving. I don't know if it was a lack of situational awareness by you or another driver, but whatever the case may be, awareness is something that is to be elevated. May you rest, take time to heal. I will keep you in my prayers. And you are still alive, and that is the most important thing. Instead of looking upon it as a curse that you have had this tragedy occur to you, please look upon it as a blessing that something much worse could have happened, and yet you are alive to tell the tale. That is truly by grace. I'm happy to have you here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And although I'm not here for you physically, I am here for you emotionally, mentally, and may you rely on other Sangis here too to share the emotions that you're understandably going through at this time. Thank you. dear Anna, for the heart me that you sent. Om Kali Mahakali Kalike Parameshwari Sarvanandakare Devi Narayani Namostute. Dear Rahina, thank you for your heart me. Om Dum Durgaya Namah. Hello, dear Ida. Thank you, Lena. Self-love brings beauty. I love that. Secret girl. Well said. Hello, Patrick. Freya, you don't know what to make for your dinner? It'll come. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta wait until you're so hungry that there becomes only one option. And then you do that. You know? You go to the fridge, you open it, I don't know what to make. And then you come back 20 minutes later and you're hungry enough that something's starting to look more appealing. Oh, I'm so hungry, you know what, I could eat that. Yeah, let's do that. You just wait in your hunger and eventually there'll be only one choice. I have to eat this. Thank you, dear Rafi, for another hat and mustache. Om Bhurm Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om. Thank you, dear Tamar, for another pair of roses. Radhe Krishna. And dear Lena, thank you for your rose. Om Mitraya Namaha. Dear Oren, thank you for your heart me. Om Ravaye Namaha. Thank you for your love from sweet and dear Adam. Dear Tamar, you had asked, how do we move on from a mistake that hurt us physically and mentally? I would say don't move on from anything. No. Process it. Maybe that's what you mean by moving on. But I think moving on might come with the connotation of leaving it behind and coming into contact with something new. But if you are dealing with pain and suffering in the present moment, then I'd say attend to that. Whatever is before you in this moment, don't move on from that. Become intimate with that, curious about that. Try to transform that suffering into something bountiful, meaning that from this experience you've learned something, and the learning itself is the responsibility. The very fact that you can even recognize something you've done as a mistake is proof that you've already learned something. You're already on the path of accountability. As long as you are learning from your past, nobody is going to judge your past. Or if they do, they don't realize how truly accountable you are in this moment. The divine, I should say, the universe certainly does not judge your past if you are taking care of the present. This present is what you have to take care of. And if you take care of this moment, because the next moment is a natural byproduct of this moment, it will take care of itself too. Don't see your suffering as something that takes you away from life. See it as something that has gotten you even closer to it. We may never wish suffering upon another being, but in our own life, we can find a way to be grateful for the things we have experienced. But that takes a very high emotional intelligence to be able to see it from that perspective. And we don't have to be at that level tomorrow. It's not like we're going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to be judged if we're there at that level yet or not. Instead, it's a day-by-day practice. 0.1% at a time, we can alchemize our past experiences into seeds that will grow into something bountiful in the future. That means being attentive to yourself now, taking care of your body and mind now, and learning. Thank you, dear Tatvamasi, for your quintet of roses. Suryaya Namaha. And dear Helena, thank you for your rose. Bhanave Namaha. You're very welcome, dear George. I'm happy to be here for you. Namaskara, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis. Dear Regina, you share that you're sad. You were rejected from performing from your local pride organization. You've always done it over the years. I'm sorry to hear that. What a blessing it is that you've had the chance to perform there over the years. Who knows what went into the decision this year, but you are always going to be an excellent role model for those that have looked up to you in the past. Where you perform, what organization you perform through does not form the basis of your authority as a role model, as a guide in your community. That comes from your spirit. That will always be there regardless of your professional affiliations. You will continue to make the same difference in the world, just in different ways. Thank you, Oren, for your quintet of squirrels. Pushne Namaha. And dear Tom, thank you for your 25 roses. Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. What's my zodiac, asks Ida. I have an interesting answer for you. I was recently looking into Vedic astrology, called Jyotisha, which is the ancient source of probably all astrology. Vedic astrology is much more advanced and nuanced, and it keeps track of so many little details, including the precession of the ecliptic and whatnot. You know, there are various reasons why the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, they imprint upon our birth. But did you know that there are circumstances, extraordinarily rare circumstances, where a specific planet, moon, or the sun may not imprint upon a soul? As it turns out, when I was researching my Vedic birth date, I was born on Purnima, the full moon of a month known as Adhika. This was October 1st, 2001. And Adhika is not associated with any of the 12 sun signs. And that's because it's a lunar leap month. And when the moon is becoming full on the lunar leap month, which happens very rarely, only once every 32.5 months, as the sun is transiting signs, the sun does not imprint upon the soul. So most people have a big three. They have a sun sign, a moon sign, and a rising. I don't have a sun sign. The sun did not imprint on me. So, whereas other people may be Libra or Virgo or Scorpio or asparagus or whatever it's called, etc., I don't have a sun sign, and therefore I don't have horoscopes. My fate of the day is entirely determined by me. And maybe that's why I've never resonated with any sun sign. It's because I don't have one. I have a moon sign. My moon sign is in Pisces. But no sun sign. How fascinating is that? Vedic astrology is very nuanced. So check yourself. Maybe you were also born in such extraordinary circumstances that modern Western astrology doesn't keep track of, where a certain planet or celestial body did not imprint upon you either. You are free from that celestial influence. Good afternoon, dear Chris. Yeah, happy Passover. Self-love also releases oxytocin. Isn't that wonderful, dear Michelle? Yeah. What do I have in my hand, dear Ree? I have some hand symbols. Hello, dear Pluto. I like that dream traveler. If you don't want to eat an apple, you are not hungry. Well said. Thank you, dear Oren. Dear Sadik, you share. You bit into a pistachio thinking it was a peanut. Help. Eating in the dark problems. I love pistachios. If I thought I was eating a peanut and then I happened to eat pistachio, I'd be very grateful. I'd be so thankful. Wow. Welcome, dear Mama Angel Cindy. And hello, what if you love yourself? Namaste, dear Raven. Hello, dear Ingrid. Dear Oren, you gave 5 squirrels so I can start a squirrel sanctuary. I love squirrels. Thank you. I don't speak German, dear Nick, but I do speak a Germanic language known as English. Thank you, dear Sadik, for your squirrel. Adding to the squirrel sanctuary, it seems. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Thank you, dear Sadik, for another quintet of squirrel. Oh, everyone's adding to the squirrel sanctuary. Thank you for another quintet of squirrels, dear Sadik. Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Dear Mituriza, thank you for your squirrel. Marichaye Namaha. And dear Tom R., thank you for your quintet of squirrels. Adityaya Namaha. Radhe Radhe, dear vintage vibes. Dear Carl Sagan, you ask, what do I mean I don't have a sun sign? Everyone has a sun sign. No, not everyone has a sun sign. Yeah. Not all the celestial bodies imprint upon the soul at any time. This has been forgotten in modern Western astrology. Ancient astrology is super advanced, and you can't always go by just by what month and date you're in. You have to really keep track of various celestial phenomena. So during the lunar leap months, Adhika, especially when the moon is in full Purnima, the sun does not imprint as its transiting signs. This means that whatever features that the sun sign is meant to imprint, the moon takes over. I forget. Someone told me once that the sun sign has to do with how you express yourself, the moon sign has to do with how you see yourself, the rising has to do with how people perceive you or something. Whatever the sun sign normally entails, in such an extraordinarily rare circumstance, the moon actually does so instead. Thank you, dear Lena, for your rose. Savitri Namaha. And dear Tattvamasi, thank you for your pair of TGIFs. Arkaya Namaha. Dear Anna, thank you for your trio of roses. Bhaskaraya Namaha. Dear Ida, thank you for your finger heart. Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. These are prayer flags, dear Carl Sagan. They're from Tibetan Buddhism. They have a prayer for Tara, a form of the Divine Mother. Welcome, dear Divine GPT. Oh, you bit into the shell of the pistachio, dear Sadik. I see, yeah. That is not a good experience on your teeth. You thought your tooth broke. Dear Rahina, you ask, do I have any favorite comfort movies to watch? Sometimes I like to watch childhood movies. None in particular. Usually whichever I haven't watched in the longest time, to connect with my inner child. I do like to play chess, dear Taga Katai. Thank you, dear Dr. Rach, for your rose. Som Somai Namaha. I am well, thank you. Acorn burrowing stream when? It's a squirreling Good Friday. I like that, Tamar. And thank you, Dr. H, for your flowers. Sarva Pushpebhyah. Rahina, you ask, what are the lunar leap months? The lunar leap month occurs every 32.5 lunar months because the lunar cycle doesn't perfectly fall into the solar cycle. And so, after 32.5 lunar cycles, we put in one extra lunar month to make sure that the lunar and solar cycles are aligned, as done in the Vedic calendar system. I think it's really important to learn about both the lunar and solar calendar, because the solar represents the masculine and the lunar represents the feminine. And for a long time our societies went off both the solar and the lunar calendar. But nowadays we almost entirely go off the solar calendar, which I think is quite a shame, because it speaks to the loss of the feminine in our society, that we don't honor her as much as we should. We don't structure our systems around the moon. We structure it around the sun, about the time of day and the date in the solar year. But there are so many things that are better structured off the cycle of the moon. For example, many hormonal cycles follow the cycle of the moon if you are intimately in touch with them. And of course there's the tides, and there's all sorts of subtle and micro weather patterns too. And then there's what the phases of the moon. I was about to say the phases of the main. And there's all the phases of the moon and what they symbolize. And that has a lot to do with our sadhana, our spiritual practice. Depending on if the moon is full, we should be outward and radiant. And if the moon is new, then we should be inwardly withdrawn. Right now we are in the Krishna Paksha of the moon. We are in the 6th day of the waning phase, and it will continue for another 9 days or so, 9 lunar days, which means that over the next 9 lunar days we should continually be more and more withdrawn. Dive deep into ourself, meditate more, spend more time alone doing self-care, spending time alone in nature. And then after that, once we get into the new moon, and the moon starts brightening again into the waxing phase, then we can start being more extroverted again. And if we can make our introversion and extroversion follow the lunar phases, you'll be surprised how in tune you are with everything. Your intuition becomes so much sharp. The things in your life just start falling into order. There's a natural harmony within your own body and mind and with your interpersonal relationships. If we can pay attention to the moon, we will make up for something that definitely has been lost ancestrally. Thank you, dear Lena, for your rose. Ham Jum Sa Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Do I have a skincare routine, asks Freya. I take care of what's on the inside, and the outside begins to take care of itself. Dear Helena, you ask, what music do I like besides the type of music we hear in my lives? I like the music of birds singing. I like the music of the ocean hitting the beach. I like the music of the wind in the trees. I like the music of everyday conversation. I like to hear the bustling city or the silence of the countryside. I love to hear my feet against the footsteps or the rhythm of my breath. Truly, and I mean this with all sincerely, life is enough music for me in my life. I never think to put anything else on. It's already wonderful. I put music on in these live streams for all of you, because otherwise I know that people come and go much faster when it's just my voice. So having some background music on, I know, is conducive to the atmosphere of these spiritual sanghas, and I offer that unto you. Human rights activist, you ask, what's my favorite chakra? My favorite chakra? You are my favorite chakra. And do you know why? Because chakra means center of energy. You are a center of energy. And especially if you identify with human rights and activism for that. What a beautiful centering of energy with that intention. That is a favorite chakra of mine. Oh, I'm happy to explain again, dear Carl Sagan. These flags above me, they're prayer flags, specifically Tibetan Buddhist prayer flags that are that bear the mantra for Tara. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Swaha. It is an unfortunate reality, dear G, that in the male-dominated world and in the solar calendar, it often throws off women's menstrual cycles too. So everyone suffers as a result of that. Dear Regina, you find it so beautiful how much of the feminine energy I hold in my heart. I have to. I am feminine and I am masculine. We all are. When we only pursue one, we pursue incompleteness. To be a full human being, we need to be fully masculine and fully feminine. That doesn't mean buying into social roles. Social roles have less to do with gender and more to do with society. It has everything to do with understanding that everything around us is feminine. We live, breathe, eat, sleep, sing through the feminine. She is this entire universe, including our bodies and our minds. There's nothing that can be seen, nothing that can be heard, nothing that can be felt that is not feminine. She is the material substrate of this whole cosmos. She is Mother Cosmos herself. Therefore, as long as we have this experience of the universe, we must connect with our femininity. Otherwise, we are not connected with the universe at all. Not connected with our bodies, not connected with our minds, not connected with our emotions, with all the forms of life, with the sun and moon combined. And the masculine too. He is the very consciousness that we all are. The witness, the one that cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be felt, but is the one that sees, the one that hears, the one that feels. The very sensitive underlayer of the substratum of existence itself. And we are both the formless and the form. And together in their harmony, this existence takes place. I strive to be in touch with both the form and the formless. Thank you, dear Viberzera, for your heartmate. Kameshwaryai Namaha. And dear Royal Blue, thank you for your
tiny bunny.
You're welcome, dear Crystal. What's the title of the background music? Asks Tagakate. It is Beauty of Indian Classical Music, flute, sitar, and tabla for inner peace. There is something calming indeed about the sound of the ocean, dear Cinders. Thank you, dear angel. Of course, dear Nanooks. SpongeBob is your favorite chakra. Oh, I love that one too. And the mantra for the SpongeBob chakra is, I'm ready. I do have two pet kitties, dear Freya, named Sandy and Shadow. Dear Mitrisa, you ask, what chakra of mine do I feel most connected with today? I hope to be equally connected with all of them. It's okay, dear Carl Sagan. Always gives me another chance to be able to say things from another way. Dear heart, orange heart emoji, you ask, do I think it's okay to have standards on relationships? Well, it depends what you mean by standards. if you know your worth, that you are worthy of someone that not only loves you deeply, but loves themselves and knows how to take care of themselves before they take care of you, and honors that you deserve to be able to take care of yourself too before you take care of them. I wouldn't say that's a standard. That's how it should be. That's what's natural. Yeah, if a standard means an expectation, well, that's a subtly different matter. Expectations are the death of a relationship. When we expect the other person to be a certain way for us, we're doomed. Because nobody can fall into our expectations perfectly. We are always going to have expectations that we'll never be able to fulfill, and others will never be able to fulfill ours completely either. We can have wishes for them. We can have wants for them. We can yearn for a goal mutually together to aspire for something, but we can never expect our partners to do anything for us. We can never expect them to be a certain way, other than how they are right now. Nourish them as they are, that potential. See what happens, see what grows. Otherwise, who are you really attached to? Is it the person as they actually are in this moment? Or this idea of a person that you've projected onto the nearest person that matches that? Fall in love with the person, not your idea of the person. I hope that makes sense. I love that, dear Carl Sagan. Good reminder. Buddha said the middle path is the key. That is why we need to balance it. Diane, you ask, may I explain reality and dimension? Reality is all that which is real. Dimension means an independent aspect of that reality. For example, going left and right is independent from going forward and backwards. No matter how far you go left or right, you'll never go forwards. Or backwards. In order to go forwards, you have to go in a new independent direction from left and right. That is a dimension. Those are examples of spatial dimensions. Independent aspects of space. There's 3 independent aspects of space that we know of. There's left and right, forward and backwards, and there's up and down. No combination of going forward and backwards or left and right is going to get you any higher or any lower. That's something new. But as far as we know, that is sufficient to go anywhere in space. Anywhere in space is just a combination of lefts and rights, forwards and backwards, and ups and downs. You can go anywhere with that. But Einstein said, well, there's more than just spatial dimensions. There are temporal dimensions also, and we know of at least one. There's after and before. And after and before is something different than left and right, forward and backwards, up and down. So after and before, time, is another dimension. But why stop there? Those are very physical dimensions, but you can also have more personal, sensual dimensions. For example, your sense of sight. It's 5-dimensional. You have three chromatic dimensions because you have 3 independent cones sensitive to different frequencies in your eye. You have a red versus cyan cone. You have a green versus magenta cone, and you have a blue versus yellow cone. Those 3 chromatic dimensions forming RGB in the additive sense or CMY in the subtractive sense form the whole color space that you may have in the form of lights or on your printer ink cartridges. And every part of your retina corresponds to a horizontal and a vertical location too. Those are 2 other dimensions of sight. So 3 chromatic dimensions and 2 spatial dimensions means that each eye is having a 5-dimensional experience. Your sense of smell, your sense of taste, your sense of sound, all of these have different numbers of dimensions. For example, when you're hearing, you are hearing pitch and you are hearing volume. That's a 2-dimensional experience. And because you have 2 ears, you also perceive direction. So adding to that a 3rd dimension. There are emotional dimensions between hatred and passion, between fear and anticipation, between patience and anticipation. You have so many different dimensions of life. There are infinite dimensions of life. And mathematically that's known as a Hilbert space. And together, all infinite dimensions together produce what we experience as reality. Thank you, dear Jonathan, for the heart me that you sent. Bhagamalinyai Namaha. Hello, dear Yona. Much love, dear Saya. Hello, dear Aquarius lady. The next time Sandy and Shadow want to be in our room, I'm happy to show you them, dear Freya. Dear Yona, you share we all have weaknesses. What is my main or one of them? I think one of my main weaknesses, or you know what, let's rephrase this. There are no such thing as weaknesses. There are merely opportunities for growth. And one of my greatest opportunities for growth right now is to be able to see the truth in everyone's perspective. I think that will be and will always be a great opportunity for growth in my life. Loyalty and honesty are good things to have in a partner. Indeed, dear Michelle and Cinders. Yeah. Dear Tattwamasi, you ask, how can you appreciate the outside if you don't know the inner fully? Should you not invest in yourself totally first? Everything about the outside informs you about something on the inside. They are not mere opposites, but complements. Going within yourself does not necessarily mean going away from the world, because you can find yourself behind everything in the world. Hello, dear 111. And thank you, dear Johnny. Hello, dear TikTok Josh. Much love, dear Ganja Faye. Of course, dear Diane. Dear Sadik, you ask, when you asked this before, my answer was speech. Did something change? I don't remember. But you can ask me the same question twice in a row and I'll give you a different answer each time. Because answers are not given on the basis of any objective formula. They are subjective based on the infinitely changing moment. And there is no one answer to rule them all, but an infinite series of them which continue to evolve through time. Yona, you ask, how do I see myself when I'll be old? I'm not guaranteed to be old. I'm not even guaranteed the next 5 seconds. Who knows? My heart could stop beating. I pray that it continues, and I'll be very blessed as it does. But as long as there is uncertainty in having another moment, all I know is that this moment is the most important one. All of my life takes place here, and it could end here at any moment. And therefore I give myself fully to the present rather than the future. Thank you, dear Medic Man, for your subscription. Dum Durgaya Namaha. Dear Ganjafe, you ask, what does it mean to me to be in my divine masculine? It means to be a source of stillness, acceptance, understanding, knowingness, and love. And to be in touch with the divine feminine means to be able to convey all those things. The divine feminine is the instrument, and the divine masculine is the player of the instrument. But that doesn't make the instrument or the player higher or lower. They are inseparable companions, and their stories would not be complete without the other. Dear Wolf Gamer, you ask, am I a girl? In this body, this is a male body. Very much so. But beauty is something that all bodies may have, regardless of their sex. Giver or taker, I have been given this body from Mother Earth. Through this body, I hope to give back before she takes it. Dear Carl Sagan, you ask, do I ever get mad at some point? Whenever I do, I use that as a teaching moment, as one less thing to get mad at the future. I am always mad at something for the last time. There will be no last time that anger arises. But I've made it my vow that whatever I get angry at, that will be the last time I ever get angry at that. And I transform my anger towards that, towards something of love. Do I forgive easily? Asks Orange Heart Emoji. How can I forgive when no one's ever done me harm? There have been people that have caused harm to this body. There have been people that have caused harm to this mind. There have been people that have said all sorts of terrible things in my direction, but I've never been hit by them because they may hit the body, they may hit the mind, or they may attack the version of me that they have in their mind, but they have never truly done me harm. So who is there to forgive? I have no enemies. How can I forgive? All they have to do is forgive themselves, and I pray that they forgive themselves. I have no one to forgive. Thank you, dear Medic Man, for your heart me. Thank you, dear Marcy, for your heart me too. Nitya Klinaya Namaha. Thank you, Medic Man, for your subscription. And dear Healing Astro Codes, thank you for your rose. Bhairundaya Namaha. Armani, you ask, what do I use for my hair? I use love. You give love to anything, it becomes beautiful. Dear Tatvamasi, you're starting to get tired of the mind and its theories and logic. Excellent, excellent, yes. Dear Kuenta TikTok, you ask, what do I think about psychedelics? They're a medicine for those that need them. Most people don't need them because they're not sick. In the way that medicine would heal. If you are raised in such a way that you are already open to spiritual things, psychedelics do nothing but give you an anxiety attack. If, however, your mind has been closed through childhood circumstances or whatever, then sometimes you need a crowbar to pry your mind open to be curious once more. And that's what psychedelics may do. Dear Sheila, you asked, do I think I'll find my divine feminine in this lifetime? Well, dear Sheila, may I remind you that divine feminine is this universe. I have found her wherever I look. She is all around me, and she is in me as this body, as this mind. You are probably asking about a form of the divine feminine that comes to you as another human being. But this is not to say that you have not found the divine feminine without a partner in your life. You can be single for the rest of your life and have both the divine masculine and divine feminine within you. This is our truth that we all share. But yes, to answer the question underneath the question, I do have somebody that I love very dearly, and she is an embodiment of the divine feminine for me. Thank you, dear Liz, for your heartbeat. Vahnivasinjai Namaha. Dear Lena, thank you for your rose. Vajreshwaryai Namaha. And dear Marcy, thank you for your team cheers. Shivadutyai Namaha. Well said, dear Ganja. Your story is always complete. Am I a Christian? Asks Wolf Gamer. I am part of the same universe in which Christianity arose. I am part of the same universe in which all religions arise. Within the part of me, the part of us that is the universe, we may tap into any religious form of spiritual revelation at any time, at any place. Dear Tea with Day, you ask, how do you not allow others' ignorance to bother you? Because being bothered is your ignorance. So be bothered by your own ignorance. Whenever one human being finds fault in another human being, that means we lack the very same thing in ourselves. For example, if we speak to the lack of beauty in another person, that's a very ugly thing to say. If we speak to the lack of intelligence in another person, That's a very dumb thing for us to say. If we speak to the lack of creativity in another person, that's a very unoriginal thing for us to say. And vice versa too. If anyone speaks of our faults, why should we learn from someone who clearly doesn't know what they're talking about? Thus, we should be humble in ourselves too, and realize that it's our fault for even looking for ignorance in other people, as that shows a lack of knowledge within ourselves. As to speak of another person's ignorance is not a very knowledgeable or understanding thing in us. Everyone, including others, including ourselves, are precisely where we're meant to be in our journey of life right now. We could not be anywhere else than where we all are right now. And another person's life is their life to throw away. But your life is not yours to throw away, ruminating about negativities. Bring yourself to what you can work on. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities for growth, your virtues, and develop them. Every day, chisel away at the statue that exists within you. Mold yourself into what you know is there in your heart. That's your dharma. Dear Liz, you ask, how do you subscribe? That's a good question. I actually don't know what set of taps on your screen would take you to that. But I will tell you that it's unexpected and unnecessary, and I will treat you the same regardless of if you are a subscriber or not. There is no other benefit other than the fact that it may feel like you get a way to express your appreciation. And if that's something that makes you happy, then of course, I'd love that for you. But for me, I am happy to be here for you regardless of what form you come in. I will always serve everyone for free. Hello, dear faces of Adam. I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm happy to hear that you're good. Hello, dear Rainbow Dragon. Dear Av, you ask, what do I think about Bashar? I know not of this being, but I do know that Daryl, who channels this being, speaks word of wisdom, and the words of wisdom that he channels are deeply impactful, regardless of who is speaking. And it's that positive impact that the words have that judge the merit. Judge a tree by its fruit. Didn't Jesus say that? The fruits themselves, if they are sweet and nutritious, that's all that matters, isn't it? Cinders, you ask, what if we speak to ourselves this way? We must take care of this body and this mind just as all bodies and minds deserve to be taken care of. I'm happy you appreciate my silly sense of humor, dear Yona. Thank you, Pure Possibilities, for your heart, me. Kula Sundaryai Namaha. Dear Medic Man, thank you for your team cheers and friendship necklace. Twaritayai Namaha. And dear Liz, thank you for your subscription. Nityayai Namaha. Every day we all get a little higher in our ascension, dear Fairy Brat. It's not love if it silences your truth. I love that, Cece. And you know what? It works both ways too. It's not true if it silences your love. Hello, dear Bradley. Kiddo, you ask, why is Good Friday actually good? And is it actually good? How is it relevant to our presence? Good Friday celebrates the day that Jesus experienced the Passion of the Christ. That is the day that Jesus was captured by the Romans, that Judas had sold him out, the day that he hauled his cross up to Golgotha and was crucified, the day that he looked upon his crucifiers and said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." The significance of this, do you know what Golgotha means? It's a name for the skull, for the cranium. What is the cross? The cross is your spine. Ancient mystic teachings from not just Kabbalah, which is the mystic tradition of Judaism, which Jesus was definitely learned in, but the mystic traditions of all the world tell us of the significance and spiritualism of our spine. It goes all the way back to Moses and his staff and the two serpents that spiraled around it, as seen in many other emblems like the staff of Hermes, the staff of Aristophanes. The two serpents, or the two sides of the cross, these are the Ida and Pingala nadis, your solar and lunar currents. And the main line, the bar itself, the spine, is the Sushumna nadi, the current that gets you all the way from the base to the crown of your head. The crown, the Golgotha, that is where you face all your enemies, your inner enemies that have ever spoken negatively of you. And you trick them into thinking that you are surrendering. But truly, it is through your surrender that you ascend, that you become immortal. It is through giving yourself up, trying not to control the ways of the world, through the spirit of grace and humility, that we forgive all the parts of ourselves, all the parts of others that are not in understanding. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. It's a very beautiful day because it truly ushers in the awakening of Christ consciousness, to cultivate a divine mind, a knowingness of your higher truth, to truly be the Son. Not just the Son in the sense of a biological descendant, but in the sense of an offspring of the universe, the sense of something that has sprouted from the source. If you can fully embody that, arising from the Trinity of Source, Holy Spirit, Holy Father, Higher Self, and Son, the embodied form, you connect and tap into your divinity today and rise, ascend into that, Holy Spirit. This is not a religious teaching. This is a human teaching that applies to every human being, because every single one of us, regardless of culture, tradition, time, orientation, belief system, we all have this capacity. We must carry our cross. Thank you, dear Carlos, for the hand mustache that you sent. Nila Patakinyai Namaha. And your rose. And dear Moonflower, thank you for your heart, man. Sarvamangalayai Namaha. It's fun. Thank you, dear Carlos, for your swan. Vijayayai Namaha. Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, thank you for your swan. Jwala Malinyai Namaha. Now, my my comment section has disappeared. The comments are how we interact with each other. Where did they go? Hello? It appears there are some technical difficulties. Let's see if they shall reconnect on their own, or if we shall have to use manual intervention. Alright, I think I'm back. I thank you everyone for your patience. Seems my computer is having some challenges today. I do apologize, as the comments that were sent before it crashed, the ones before I got to, I won't be able to read them anymore because, well, I had to restart my computer. If there's anything you would like me to attend to, you're welcome to resend the comment. I did see before we crashed that, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, you sent a swan, so thank you for that. Jwala Malinyai Namaha. Alright, I do have a question of the day for everyone, if you're interested in exploring it with me. Today I'm wondering, through what do we find the doorway to liberation? It sounds like I'm asking for something very specific, but I'm actually not. You are welcome to answer this question in many ways, and any way that makes sense to you. So there's certainly no right answer, specifically, nor is there necessarily a wrong answer. Some beautiful answers already. Forgetfulness, shares Kiddo, is a gateway to liberation. I see the truth in that. Dear Janice, you share acceptance. Ah, how profound. You echo acceptance, dear Jonathan. Tattvamasi, you share through the mind, but turned inwards. I like that. Christo shares neti neti. Not this, not that. Sadik, you share liberation would be the alignment of desire and reality. So the common way is to give up desire. I see where you come from. Ourselves, shares Goli. We are that gateway to liberation. I love that. Non-attachment and the breath. Well said, the free bumblebee. Hello, dear IFC John. Happy Easter. Let go, shares Joel. Or in you share, we are liberated when we let ourselves be contented with all we have around us and the gifts we have attracted toward us with our own magnetism and aura. I see that. Marcy, you share in 3 succinct words, becoming the why, the reason. That's so beautiful. Hello again, dear Liz. Kaisa, you share forgiveness, giving yourself forward to the present moment. I love that. And Kara, you share harmony, not symmetry. I like that. Things don't have to be perfect mirrors. We can harmonize and refract that light. Agape love shares dancing Aurora Borealis. Ostromi, you share God. IFC John, you share through the I am. CC, you share through surrender, not struggle. The door opens. Sounds like an automatic door. Try to force open an automatic door, it won't budge. But if you simply stand back, look up, smile, and in your own presence, the automatic door at the grocery store goes vroom. Then all you have left is to walk through. We've got one of those automatic grocery store doors up here. Kiddo, you share the dance between the unknown and not be afraid to have your free desires met. That's very beautiful. Through silence, shares Tattvamasi. In flow, shares La Luna Manda. I like that. Can I recommend any good books, dear Liz? You just finished The Physics of Consciousness. Well, I like the book that we're reading together, The Radiant Sutras. I've been enjoying this thus far. I'm glad you like the grocery store automatic door analogy, dear Jonathan. It was spoken about in ancient scripture. Through sesame. Sure, Cece. Open sesame. Something like this live stream sangha. Like-minded people in a safe space to be free. I see the truth in that, dear Tom R. Yes, the grocery store door magic proverb. Yeah, spoken by spoken in the book of Automations. Automations 5:5. And then God spoketh, stand in front of the grocery store door, and it shall open before you by your very own presence. Foolish are they, the weak-minded ones, who try to pry open the grocery store automatic doors, for they shall make themselves ajar simply by you waiting. It's a good one. Thank you, Anthony, for your heart meet. Am Sarvaya Namaha. Vulnerability is a great gateway. I love that. And through the understanding that there is no doorway. Great answer, Tattvamasi. I like that. Thank you, everyone. I will pause our question of the day there for now. I think we've already given several different gateways, and I am grateful for the many of them. Thank you. I love that all. Can I talk more about the energy today for Good Friday? Certainly. Today you might feel a tingling sensation come up your spine. You may feel a kind of anticipation towards breaking through into something that is full of forgiveness, full of mercy, full of miracle, full of wonder and delight. Allow yourself to be face to face with everything that scares you today. Use that not as something that takes you away from life, but as an interface to get you to the next level. Oh, you're welcome to give another answer, dear Amelia. Yeah. If you had one in the chamber, locked and loaded, fire away. La Luna Manda, you share somehow you wonder if we need the concept of liberation, or if it isn't about joining the moment. Well said. In the Bhakti traditions of India, it's said that there is something that we should strive for, higher than liberation, and that's Bhakti. That's loving devotion, done through Karma Yoga, union in our actions, in this moment, through our selfless service, our seva to all the forms of the divine, including this body, this mind, and every body, every mind. Liberation is something that bhaktas actively refuse. In fact, when it comes the time for liberation, the bhakta says, no, I do not want to be liberated, as that would keep me from my loving service unto all your beautiful forms. Eventually, however, the bhakta loses the battle, because who can refuse their beloved wanting to give them something for the sake of adding to their loving devotion? And when it's that perspective that comes, that liberation is not something that takes you away from this world, but pulls you even deeper to the heart of it and your role here, then the bhaktas get enlightenment as a byproduct of their loving devotion. And they just continue in their loving devotion without even realizing. And everyone around them continues to benefit from that. See you soon, dear Oren. So what a beautiful intuition you have, dear La Luna Manda. Why stay in prison when the door is wide open? Well said, dear kiddo. How about if I put it like this? Why leave prison when there are so many people that need your help in it? I heard a great saint once say, do virtuous people go to heaven or hell? The father, the priest said in return, virtuous people do indeed go to heaven. The saint asked, do sinners, where do they go? Do they go to heaven or hell? The priest said, they go to hell. The saint said, then I pray to you, my father, that you send me to hell, where I may go to see all those who need my help the most. I similarly pray, O Lord, do not send me to heaven. Do not send me into an abode of pleasure. Do not send me into that place where everyone is enlightened. Send me to those places where nobody is, so that my light may shine and begin to rekindle the light in theirs. Exactly, dear Paul. You get it. It's all metaphor. Symbolism on symbolism. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Now, I would love to read to you. Exactly, dear Paul. All human beings deserve and shall be liberated. It is only a matter of time. Namaste, dear kiddo. It is time for another episode of Ruminations. This poem is called Generosity is Gainful Trade. O Sea of Bliss, you have stored transcendental forms of consciousness in the heedless. You have stored a wakefulness in sleep. You have fastened dominion over the heart to the state of one who has lost her heart. You conceal riches in the lowliness of poverty. You fasten the necklace of wealth to poverty's iron collar. Opposite is secretly concealed in opposite. Fire is hidden within boiling water. A delightful garden is hidden within Nimrod's fire. Income multiplies from giving and spending, so that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, the King of Prosperity, has said, O possessors of wealth, generosity is a gainful trade. Riches were never lessened by sharing. In truth, acts of charity increase one's wealth. This poem is called Losing the Way. What wisdom was this, that the object of all desire caused me to leave my home joyously on a fool's errand, so that I was actually rushing to lose the way, and at each moment being taken farther from what I sought. And then God, in His beneficence, made that very wandering the means of my reaching the right road and finding wealth. He makes losing the way a way to true faith. He makes going astray a field for the harvest of righteousness, so that no righteous one may be without fear, and no traitor may be without hope. The gracious one has put the antidote in the poison, so that they may say, He is the Lord of hidden grace. And lastly, let's read this poem called Animal Cookies. God gives the things of this earth a certain color and variety and value, causing childish folk to argue over it. When a piece of dough is baked in the shape of a camel or lion, these children bite their fingers excitedly in their greed. Both lion and camel turn to bread in the mouth, but it's futile to tell this to children. And I believe that suffices for another episode of Ruminations, and it may be the second to last episode for a while, since there is only one last poem left, and it's a long one. We've saved the best for last next time. I look forward to reading that with you. I hope you enjoyed that, as I did. Mhm. Can you ask what my beliefs are in the afterlife, asks Paul. In any readings I suggest, I see truth in all perspectives as one. We are living in the afterlife right now. So there is an afterlife. It's the one we're living. Whether it's hell or heaven is something that we make out of it. If we get lost in the world, we make a hell for ourselves. If we find home within it, we make a heaven. Who says that heaven and hell have to be different places? Can't it be, in this grand creation, that they may coincide exactly in the same place? That we can make a mess out of heaven, and we can make something beautiful out of hell. And in this eternal reality, we may find infinite suffering or infinite bliss. Happy birthday, dear PJ. Thank you for sharing a part of this sacred day for you with all of us. I'm blessed to have you here. Hello, dear Ellers. What a blessing it is that you're still with us. Grateful to have you here. Pray for your healings. Do I have any readings I suggest? Paul asked. All there is to read is already written on the inside of your heart. You just need to learn its language. Hello, Pesto. Hello, dear Kensington. I'm doing well today. Pesto, you think you've fallen in love, but you're so confused if he's the right person or not. And there is no right person. But there are people that have different amounts of rightness in some areas and different amounts of wrongness in some areas. There is no person that's going to be 100% right for you. There's going to be people that are very wrong for you, and there's going to be people that are very right for you. But there will always be, in someone, something a little bit wrong about them for you. The question is, are you going to wait for an illusion? The perfect person. You're not a perfect person. Nobody is a perfect person. How can we expect ourselves to have someone that's right for us if we're not right for anyone else? What you can do, however, is if you do find a person that's mostly right for you, you can vow with them as a commitment to work on those things that are a little bit wrong for each other. That you polish the stone, become smoother, so that your jagged edges brush up upon each other less and less harshly, that you may work on a relationship so that it becomes right. And if it can't, then you let it go just as gracefully as it has come. And I wish for you many blessings in all your relationships. Angel number 14, you ask, do I have a message for you? May we crack open the Bhagavad Gita, see what message is there for you. We cracked open a page which has no text, but just images. Left or right, dear angel number? Left or right? This is also Marco Polo, to see how long the chat is delayed. Right. The spirit soul, bewildered by the three modes of material nature and under the influence of the false ego, thinks themselves the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes. Well said, dear G. You are the only person that will ever be 100% right for you. I love that. Being with other people is full of compromises. That's very emotionally intelligent of you, dear Nanook. Indeed. And thank you, Lydia Linda, for your TikTok. Parashaktaye Namaha. What did that mean, asked the angel number? It means we think that we're the ones that create the outcomes of our actions. But actually, the outcomes of our actions are decided by what influence of material nature we are being engaged in at that time. The three modes are passion, rajas, creativity, force, power, energy. Sattva, purity, stillness, ease, generosity, gratitude, balance. And tamas, darkness, greed, heedlessness, anger, envy, jealousy, ignorance. We go through all three modes. All of us. We all go through rajas, sattva, and tamas. It's a question of what do you do while under the influence? And when do you decide to do certain things? It's all about the timing and the intention of your actions. That is truly your creation. But the outcomes are decided by material nature, which has its rules set. We must not think of ourselves as the doer in the sense of creating the outcome. The outcome is determined by those three modes. But we get to decide when to act and what to do when under the influence of these three. Thank you, dear Kelsey, for your heart meme. Namah Karlim Ambita Me Shrim Nadita Me Hrim Devita Me Aim Saraswatyai Swaha. Angelica, you ask how to deal with frustration. When you're frustrated, take a break. Whatever you're frustrated with, give yourself some time and space from that. Frustration is something that is signaled whenever you are being overwhelmed with so many things to process. You can't process that thing at this time. So do something else. Distract yourself, give your attention to something meaningful, and return to it when you're feeling understimulated. Kiddo, you ask, can you step out of who you are and be the personality character without the character? Then who are you? No. You can only ever express a part of the divine at any time. That's what all of us are. That's what all of us do. We are expressions of the infinite. And none of us can express the infinite. And thank God we can't. Because if we express the infinite, then that means all that ever was, is, and will be us. There will be no room for anything else. It will just be a cosmic monogamy, pure monolithic singularity. There will be no time, there will be no space, there will be no light, there will be no dark. There is just pure existence. Sounds beautiful. It's true. That is the source itself. But we are not destined to be that while here on Earth. We would destroy the Earth and all things in this universe if we were to become that. It'd be like a big bang going off if we were to become everything all at once. So no, time and space exist for a reason. There should be space and time between our expressions, and through the infinitude of all that space and time, we slowly but surely get to express another aspect of our truth, one at a time. Where did I learn these things? Asked Angel Number. I didn't. I unlearned other things, and they are what remained. I am well, thank you, dear Super Sam. Dear Saint Mskio asks, do I read Western philosophy? I don't do much reading in general. My day has been well, dear Shazzle Dazzle. Thank you. I like your words, dear Marcy. Where did I learn to unlearn? Asks Angel. Now that's a good question. Where did I learn to unlearn? In midst of my sufferings that have been imposed upon me by the things I've unnecessarily learned, thinking that they would help me understand the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, this versus that. When I realized that according to my own divisions that I unnecessarily placed on this world based on what others speak of, and I started deconstructing all those divisions. Is this truly different from that? Am I truly different from you? Is this universe truly different from the individual? Is the beginning truly different from the end? Is life truly different from death? Is birth truly different to the unbecoming? Is dream truly different from waking? Is consciousness truly different from this whole existence? When we let go of these limiting beliefs, these divisions that we've drawn on the world, which is provoked by our own suffering, from that suffering we are forced to question these things. As we continue to question these things, we slowly deconstruct our assumptions that are hiding behind everything we do. Dear Urgdrumbo, you ask, what's a typical day in my life? I have no typical days. Every day is out of the ordinary. And yet, every moment of my day is perfectly ordinary. Today I rose at 8:30 in the morning. I said, today I rise to unify my body, spirit, and mind in the service of truth. I opened the windows and reveled at the glory of the blue sky. I walked to my altar and I prayed, and I did a mantra for each form of the divine. I prayed for all of you too. I brushed my teeth, drank a cup of warm water. I went and did sun salutations. I stretched. I fed my kitties. I took a shower. I walked. I listened to the hymns of the Rig Veda. I studied the mysteries of Soma, Indra, and the Soma pressers. I fed myself. I chanted. I practiced Kriyas, and then I went live, and here I am. Afterwards I shall bask in the sun. Maybe I shall play with some equations of mantra. I shall call my lover. We shall talk and enjoy the mysteries of life together. Perhaps we finish a movie. Then I do moon salutations, I feed myself, I pray, and I go to sleep. And in each moment of my day, I am happy. I am grateful to be here. And I love what this world has offered today. And I look forward to discover what else I have to offer to this day. And thank you, beauty of spiritual life, for your rose. Om Vastave Namaha. And dear Sadhik, thank you for your heart mate. Om Bhumyai Namaha. Dear Saint Yamsox, you ask, how can someone from the West prefer Eastern culture and their philosophy? What about Nietzsche, Hegel? I have no preference. The East simply has preserved what is ancient, and the West has lost that. What the West rediscovers through modern philosophy, the East has already had for thousands of years. If we listen closely to who lives in the West, who truly lives in the West, our indigenous cultures, our populations, you will find there too, there's a philosophy that you may consider very parallel to Eastern. But Eastern is not a philosophy. It has no geolocation. It has no time. It is timeless, universal, omnipresent. The difference between Eastern and Western philosophy is that Western is a philosophy. It's a mental construct, whereas Eastern is a direct interface with reality itself at the level of body, mind, and spirit. There's no question of this perspective being right or another perspective being wrong. There is just direct perception of truth itself in its entire glory. There is no debate. There is no division. All is one. Every single thought a manifestation of divine consciousness, our very beings, vessels of that light. There's no need to philosophize when you are the living embodiment of existence, when you are part of the greatest thing itself we call the universe. Why create mental constructs and project them over reality when you are reality itself? That is the living reality of our ancestors, of the indigenous world, and of what has been preserved in the East, but largely forgotten in the West. Sid, you ask, am I able to enter Samadhi yet? I don't practice. I have no intention on achieving Samadhi. Samadhi yoga is the highest limb of yoga. The lowest limb is one I'm still working on. Yama yoga, divided into 5 yamas. Observances, ahimsa, causing the least harm, is still something that I'm trying to practice, let alone the rest of the yamas, let alone the rest of the yogas, let alone the highest yoga of Samadhi. Kiddo, you ask, what is the place where everything doesn't feel a burden? Yes. Beyond the intellect. Hello, dear Rylan. Greek philosophers are part of the ancient Eastern world. Many people misunderstand Greek philosophy is not Western. It is Eastern. The philosophy of ancient Greece is one and the same as the philosophy of ancient India. The philosophy of the whole of the ancient world is one and the same. It is only in modern times do we create such a division, when there is truly none. Pantheism is not a philosophy, it's an understanding that the source has emanated in many forms, including you and I. Monotheism too is not a belief system. It's an understanding that there is one source from which it all originates. All so-called philosophical systems are just different understandings. And if you limit yourself by any understanding, then you lack understanding of the other perspectives. There is no highest understanding other than that which brings you into the full harmony of all understandings, when you divide not the world into such dichotomies, but instead seek to find the wholeness in all of it. Dear AAA, you ask, do atheists have no connection to the source? Of course they do. They truly see the source for what it is, beyond dogma. An atheist is not disconnected from source. They are even more connected than most that call themselves theists. An atheist refuses to believe in dogma, but everyone has a connection to the source. I believe in atheism just as much as I believe in theism. I believe in theism as much as I believe in non-theism. I believe in non-theism as much as I believe in transtheism. I believe in transtheism as much as I believe in pantheism. I believe in pantheism as much as I believe of panentheism. I believe in panentheism as much as I believe in polytheism. I believe in polytheism as much as I believe in monotheism, etc., etc., etc. There is truth to be found in the wholeness of all of it combined together. If you see the beauty and truth in a perspective, then you are in understanding of that. There is nothing that I don't believe in, because there is nothing that can't be found truth therein. Thank you, dear Lookitsdies, for your dear Banjo, thank you for your heart, mate. Hare Krishna. And dear Gina, thank you for your heart, mate. Your pair of roses. Ham Hanumate Rudratmakaya Om Bhat Swaha. Exactly, dear Woo-Woo. How can you believe in an understanding? It is just understanding. At that point, no need to even call it by belief. Unless that's what you mean by belief. Understanding itself. To truly believe is to understand. Shazzle Dazzle, you had asked, do I believe in life after death? Do you believe in life before birth? Anything you want to know about one extreme, you simply learn from the other. If you want to know what happens before the universe, just look to the end of time. If you want to learn what happens after death, ask yourself what took place before birth. Thank you, dear Franklin, for your ice cream cone, your rose, and your heart, mate. Om Namo Vishnave. Dear AAA, you ask, if someone implies or simplifies life by saying everything is random, does that mean no connection to source? The source is the source of randomness. Because true randomness is truly miraculous. Isn't it? I mean, that would go against everything that we know by natural laws, that everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So if something is truly random, then that would be indistinguishable from an act of God. Does Spirit always have a plan, dear Super Sam? Spirit always has a plan, and that plan is to wing it. That's why Spirit soars. Thank you, Her Royal Highness Zenny, for your 16 roses. Aum I Maya Shaktaye Namah. Alright, I'd like to end this live stream now. But I will end not before we do a guided meditation. Today's guided meditation is very special. Dramatic zoom. Our meditation today is called The Passion of the Inner Christ for Good Friday. I'd like for you, if you choose, to close your eyes and just listen to these words. I will read to you. Part 1. The Descent of the World. Beloved seeker, enter now into the stillness where the Word was with God before all beginnings. In this sanctuary of silence, the Logos descends. Like a star falling into a womb of clay, you feel it enter a light within your heart. The Son is born in you, not a man of history, but the light of your own truth incarnate. Breathe and feel the warmth of this divine child in your chest. Say inwardly, I am the vessel of the living Word. Part 2. The Baptism of Awakening. Waters arise within. Waters of memory, of sorrow, of promise. The inner Christ walks into the Jordan of your spine. From crown to root, he is submerged in your soul's long forgotten depths. A dove descends, whispering, This is my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. You are that beloved. Let breath flow like water. Inhale, I receive the Spirit. Exhale, I awaken to love. Again. Part 3. The Garden of Gethsemane. Gethsemane. Never learned how to pronounce that. You kneel now before the moon of surrender. In the garden of your own conscience. You hear the trembling of your will. Let this cup pass, cries your ego. But the Christ within speaks louder. Not my will, but thine be done. This is the agony of becoming real. Place your attention in the belly. Breathe deeply and surrender to the great silence. Whisper, I yield to the eternal. Part 4. The Trial and the Crown. You are brought before the judges of your mind. Fear, shame, doubt, they cry out, crucify him. The inner Christ remains silent. No defense. No resistance. They crown you with the thorns of clarity. Your old beliefs pierce you, yet they awaken you. Feel the pressure on the brow, the third eye. Say, through every pain I awaken. Part 5. The Way of the Cross. You carry the weight of your karma now, across the hill of your life's unfinished work. But listen, each time you fall, a hidden strength arises. Veronica wipes your brow, your soul sees its true face. Simon bears your burden, grace walks beside you. Every step the inner Christ grows stronger. Breathe into your spine. Feel the cross as your own body. Vertical is the spirit. Horizontal is the world. You are at the meeting point. Say, I walk the way of transformation. Part 6. The Crucifixion Within. Now come to the mount within. There is no more running. Here the final veil is torn. Yourself is nailed. Hands, feet, and thoughts to the now. The heart is pierced, and from it flows water and blood, purification and life. As breath leaves the body, a whisper arises. It is finished. Let go of all breath. Pause. Die into stillness. Say nothing. Just be. Part 7, the resurrection flame. And from the tomb of this silence, a flame begins to rise, not bound by flesh, nor name, nor death. The inner Christ lifts within you like sunrise, a body of light, a joy that cannot be crucified. Inhale with awe, exhale with joy. Say, I am risen in the one light. Remain here as long as you wish. Let silence teach you. When you are ready, open your eyes as if for the first time. You are the sanctuary. You are the cross. You are the light that walks through death and calls it home. Amen. Alleluia. I hope you enjoyed that little Good Friday meditation. Just a little something to honor the traditions around the world. This is an interfaith space of many different cultures and traditions that people may come and go from all walks of life, knowing that we're all headed in the same direction eventually. We have come to the end of our Sangha today, but thank you everyone for being a part of this space. Thank you to those who sent a gift whilst we meditated. Dear Michelle, thank you for your rose. Aum Ram Brahmane Namah. Dear Her Royal Highness Annie, thank you for your 19 roses. Aum Ram Shikhandine Namah. Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, thank you for a galaxy. Aum Ram Arlam Ashwini Bhyam Namah. Thank you, dear Cosmic, for your heart me and quintet of roses. Om Elim Virabhadraya Namah. Dear Her Royal Highness Zeni, thank you for another rose. Dear kiddo, thank you for your rose too. Om Aim Saraswatyaya Namah. Thank you everyone for being part of the space. Thank you my lovely moderators who help keep the peace. Thank you Zach for your heart me. Om Ishwaraya Namah. If there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive for you next time, please let me know, or anyone. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Aum Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Whether this is your afternoon, your evening, your morning, your night, anything in between and beyond, may you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.